A BetterHelp ad. Therapy isn't just for times of major challenge. It's a valuable tool for anyone wanting to improve their well-being. It can help you develop healthy coping skills, set boundaries, and support personal growth. BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a fully licensed therapist right from your phone. No commuting, no waiting rooms. And you can switch therapists at any time. Sign up at BetterHelp.com and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com.
You're listening to Who's Hot, the UK OCR podcast, where Wil Chung, along with elite racers Becky, Neal, Finley, Greenleaf, and the occasional special guest, discuss the UK OCR series and other important races in the OCR calendar to find out who's hot.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the latest UK OCR Who's Hot podcast. We are back again, and we're here to review the British Championships hosted by Nuclear Races, which happened last Saturday, the 9th of May. As always, I have my two very elite runners with me. I've got Becky, Neal, and Finley, Greenleaf. Hello, both. How are you doing?
Hello. Yes, we're back, and it was an exciting weekend. I'm sure Finn is very excited to talk about it.
Yeah, great weekend. Yeah, glad to be here after that. Yeah, very, very, very happy. I think both of the results.
I don't actually know where to start. We will talk about the top tens, but Finn, we had obviously we do the Who's Hot, and we have a prediction about where we think the top three is going to be. Do you remember what your top three males were?
I believe so. I think it was myself third, Dan second, and Mo first.
That's correct. And Becky, do you remember what you picked for the men?
I think I went Dan, Mo, Finn.
Yes, you did. And both of you somehow bet against Finn. Finn, congratulations. Can you tell everyone else that may have not known the results, how did you do?
I scampered away with second place somehow. So yeah, very, very happy.
Amazing.
Yeah, great result.
That's really fantastic, Finn. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
Yeah. What a time to do it as well.
Yeah. What a time.
So we talked about in the preview show kind of how you was working up to this and actually you were feeling good, even though you maybe just a little bit of pride kind of pushed you back and thought, maybe I'm not quite good enough for second. But you must have been feeling good running into it, maybe in the back of your mind thinking, yeah, well, I've probably, I'm really on for this. Actually, how was you feeling in the run up to the race?
It's a weird one, I'll be honest. Not to make excuses, but normally before a race is always on my mind. And obviously, we're not just athletes, we've got other things. I've got my exams coming up. So for once, the race wasn't the biggest pressure for me. So weirdly, well, I've done quite well, actually. It wasn't a huge focus. I kind of turned up going, right, I've got this today. It's a big event, but no, I've got other stuff to focus on. And for some reason, it's been the most kind of laid back I've been pre-race. And then as soon as we went off, it all kind of just hit. And yeah, all laid out in front of me, enough to take second place. So yeah, delighted.
Now, I know you're not going to have a map brain like Becky, and we'll talk about the obstacles and the race in a bit more detail and about Becky's race as well. But talk me through a bit of your race, because of course, second place, better than what you thought you would do. You said you probably had less pressure because you were thinking about other things. Of course, exams are so much more important right now. So what was your mindset as you was going through the race? Were you constantly chasing, or were you constantly trying to keep in front?
Well, to be honest, early on, things as I thought was going to happen. Dan and Mo went off like bullets, and I thought that's not really my battle today. At the start, I thought that's their battle. I'm going to leave out of that. For a long way at the start, it was myself and Gavin kind of going back and forth. I overtook him. Some of the runs, I was ahead of him. He was right at my tail that I thought I was going to pave away. And then we got to the nuclear handbags, and obviously his background being more strength stuff, he took a little lead on me there. I roped him back on the run again, and obviously people know the course. There was a lot of running early days, and for that it was me and Gavin, him just on my shoulder, and we were going at a decent pace. For those who were in kilometres like myself, there was times we were doing about 3:45, 4 minutes per kilometre on some of those fields, which I didn't expect at all. And I think that's because of Gavin. We were just pushing each other. And then I'd say before the low rig, I started to die out. Gavin overtook me, and I kind of thought, okay, that's it. I've started to die off now. I've hit a wall. And we got to the low rig. Dave was there with a camera, and I was my normal self. I'm yet to see this footage. I'm hoping Dave's got it. At the same time, I'm kind of not, because I was quite horrible. But I gave Gav a bit of jip. My normal self, being a bit arrogant, that's how I get through things. And
on the obstacle or
on the
before?
obstacle, I was focusing more on what I was saying, to be honest, than the actual rig itself. So, I mean, I don't know how that happened.
Flow state, but not really.
I was worse than I've ever been, to be honest. But somehow I got through the rig quite quickly, overtaking Gavin, and that just gave me a massive second wind to push off into the distance. And obviously, Dan failed that low rig, and out of nowhere, turned the corner. He's in my view, and that changed it all. So flew through the wild forest area, put a bit of pace on. After that, that little bit of water before hitting out in the long run, and out of nowhere I see Mo and Dan, and that was just really unexpected. Hit out on the fields, got a little more gap to Gavin now, feeling a bit more safer, and then out of nowhere there's Mo, and that was a real unexpected moment. Like, okay, that wasn't at all part of the plan whatsoever, and the whole race plan changed midway to anything I could have suspected, really. Came into the water zone with Mo. I went to the death slide with him, said to the people on the death slide, I've done this plenty of times before, I know what I'm doing, he says, and then ends up doing a backflip, landing on his head, which wasn't wasn't part of the plan. I've looked at the photos, it's literally me just going right head first, arse in the air for the camera, which has been great, and then Mo landing almost on top of me. But we had a good little battle through there. This year my zip line was great, good bit of speed through there, so previous issues quashed. Got to that horrible like pull, which like Dave says is his kind of strength thing he likes, and that was a real battle. And I think for Mo, he was saying his calves are an issue, and obviously that didn't help him at all. And I think that's where he started to die out a bit more. We got through to the tire wall in Wild Forest, and I think that cramp started to hit him there. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to forget Mo now, hit from the front instead, because I knew Gavin wasn't that far behind, and really Dan wasn't that far ahead. So a little bit through the jump course. The next bit, pegs and all nail, Captain Hook, sorry, and the nail biters all fine. Storm through Phoenix Rising, or the Stairway to Heaven. Then it's the Weaver, and it was just kind of like, okay, I lost my arrogancy there. I was like, this actually is a bit more serious now. Got through there. Nice little run back to the main area. Just managed to keep those guys behind me, Gavin and Mo. Not sure what happened to them at that point, and push forward. And I saw Mo's dad saying Dan wasn't that far ahead. I was like, yeah, right. And then out of nowhere, actually going towards the slide, right at the end, Dan was suddenly in my view, just approaching the slide as I was coming up to a weird little nuclear obstacle beforehand. And in the end, he just managed to scamper away again. But seeing Dan wasn't something I suspected. Being in that position was nothing I suspected was going to happen whatsoever. Ploughed through the last bit, up the escalator, whatever it's called, the travelator, that's the word, and then somehow second place. It's a very brief roundup that makes it sound simpler than it actually was, but somehow, some way, silver medal in a big race. So no complaints from me.
How exciting. And actually you were a minute from Dan, but 2.5 minutes ahead of Gavin, and another couple of minutes back to Morgan, and Russell not far behind. So it wasn't like by the skin of your teeth. That was a great race.
Yeah, cheers.
Solid.
So let's just quickly go through the top 10, and then Becky will talk about your race. So as we've just mentioned, Dan Tickham in first place, 1 minute 15:45. Very own Finley Greenleaf, well done, Finn. 1 hour 16:45 seconds. As we said, not too far behind. Third place, bronze medal position, Gavin Hogarth, 1 hour 19:13 seconds. Fourth place, Morgan Maxwell. Fifth place, Russell Walsh. Sixth place, Darren Martin. Seventh place, Ramsey Wickus. Eighth place, Kenny Sams. Ninth place, James Burton. And in 10th place, Andy Bright. Congratulations to you all. Becky, this seems to be your year, shall we say. And of course, it's been a great start to the year.
Yes.
And of course, in the Who's Hot top three, both of you backed yourself, and Finn, of course, learned from his mistake the other time and also backed you. So how did you do?
Yes, very pleased to take the win for second year in a row. I do love nuclear, everybody knows that, and of course I wasn't on the podium the years before that over this distance, so I'm glad to have made the most of those opportunities and performed well at this level. And it's quite special to hold it at the same time as holding the 3K title as well. So yeah, it does feel good to be kind of having some success at the moment. I felt all right. We actually went off with the men, which we haven't done in this event in the past, which meant it's quite a battle to get through the first ditch and through the forest and pick up the bags. I like to start and find spaces at the start of races, any kind of competition. So that was definitely more of a challenge for me. And I felt like the sandbag was extra heavy today, but that might have just been me being weak. So came off that on third, but then was kind of in the front by the time we got into the forest, just 100 meters down the line. So after that, I stayed out in front. So yeah, very pleased. Would you like to tell me to tell you about the women's race?
I'll go through the top 10 first, and then if you can, because I know you spoke to several people, but could talk a little bit more about the ladies' race as well. So yourself, Becky Neal, first place, 1 hour 39:47 seconds. Second place, Charlotte Duhany, 1 hour 43:26 seconds, and in third place, your British obstacle sports captain Tamar Barkley, 1 hour 45 minutes 56 seconds. Fourth place, Pip Rainbow. Fifth place, Lou Ferriman. Sixth place, Grace Campbell. Seventh place, Gerald Beach. Eighth place, Emma McRae. Ninth place, Indy Miller. And in 10th place, Kirsty Kennedy. Congratulations to you all. Yeah, so Becky, back to you. Give me a bit of lowdown on the women's race, because actually it seems to have a couple of battles behind you looking at some of these timings too.
Yeah, well, I'm buzzing for Tamar. She did fantastic. Her first kind of podium at, in this distance, certainly, at that level, at the national level. So congratulations, Tamar. Sorry, we underestimated you, but obviously Dave definitely shouted you out beforehand. So really, really happy for Tamar. She was actually, it felt like a battle. Like I was like a bit in front, but I could still see them. Like we had more switchbacks on the course this year, so I wasn't taking it easy. I could still knew that anything could happen. So I was trying to kind of stay ahead, but I think they felt closer to each other as well, and were having quite a good push from each other throughout the whole course. Really, Tamar had an opportunity to kind of battle it out for the podium. Fourth place was sort of a bit of a gap behind, so actually Tamar was looking forward and thinking, can I get another one here, but knowing that also pushing that little bit harder would push Shy that little bit harder, and everyone was sort of pushing, but not. I don't know whether if we'd been closer to begin with, whether that would have been different or anyway, we were all working hard to maintain those positions basically. And what I'm really pleased with is that we all had a clear run. Anything could have changed with a penalty at that stage, but actually everyone performed really well. I think they were both very efficient at the obstacles. Obviously the running, I've been training significantly more, but the carries and stuff we were obviously concerned about a little bit, given Dave's focus on that, adding that extra one in. So I was uncertain how that was going to go. Once we got there, I was still kind of running with the men. I think we did have different weights. It might have been lighter for the women, but actually I was overtaking the men. I think all the women were pleasantly surprised by how achievable that one was. So actually I was kind of relieved after that one. Maybe Shy was thinking, I thought I was going to catch Becky there like she did on the jump course last year, but not this time. But yeah, we all executed the obstacles really well, certainly in the top three, and there was still quite a battle. I know Tamar actually had like a 5-page race plan, which she'd kind of put together, deciding what she was going to push and how she was going to focus on each obstacle and where she was going to try and make up time and how she was going to tackle each obstacle and things like that. So really, really like a lot of effort put into preparing for this. So I'm really happy that kind of paid off for her. But yeah, it was quite fun to run with the men at the start. I think that probably meant I did go off a bit harder, put down a fast pace for the first few K, and then kind of eased back a bit. But it was quite rewarding and less lonely to have some other people to run with, and it felt good when we were overtaking them if the men failed the obstacles too. But yeah, Pip and Lou ran together for a little bit of the race. I think a few swapping of positions of them being efficient on different obstacles, in slightly different ways. And then I think it did come down to the travelator at the end and a little bit of cramp being involved. So that was quite a close battle. You can see in the times as well, but I think they were literally swapping positions on the kind of the run back. We all sort of commented at the end about how there was a bit more of a surprise towards the end. You saw the obstacle rulebook when we talked with Dave. And, when we do run at Nuclear, you know that you kind of go out the back and go down that quite fast torpedoes type slide. And then you sort of just come back over the hill and over the Ridge of Revenge and towards the Travelator and finish. And I actually went to suss that bit out on my warm up. I ran a couple of K and I thought, oh, it looks a bit different. And you go down there and I was like, I can't figure out exactly where these bits of tape go, but it's something like this. And I was like, but it's definitely different. The ridge is definitely earlier. I was like, there's something different. But then in the race, I don't know if you felt like this, Finn, but we came out of the slide, went behind the trees, and then turned left behind the slide. And I was like, have I gone the wrong way? I'm like, I definitely followed the signs. So I was like, I'm just going to make some noise so that the marshals can see where I'm going in case they want to shout at me that I'm going the wrong way. But no one did. And then we popped out and there was more obstacles and some more marshals and we were basically running the rookies course. But it was definitely more substantial than all of us expected because it hadn't been in the rule book. So it felt long and I think everyone was a bit done because it amounted to be more like 14K. So we were like, are we meant to be doing this? There's more obstacles. We love obstacle racing, but also we all thought that we were going to be going up that hill and finishing. So it was, I think, Tamar probably spotted that as well. So she had a strong finish. But yes, that was certainly, it felt like a bit of a roller coaster towards the end. But that's good, I think, test our psychology as well. That's part of it, isn't it? Adapting to the obstacles as we go. So yeah, it was nice to have extra bonus obstacles, not complaining about that. But maybe I think that might be generally people were handling the Travelator much better. I don't know whether that was the speed, whether it was the temperatures, or actually I think some of it is to do with running up that hill beforehand and running up the Ridge of the Revenge, then running across that slight camber up the grass. My quads are a bit more done once I've done that bit, whereas this time we were a bit more recovered from the extra kind of running bit around the side of the rookies course. So yeah, that was less dramatic. People were kind of managing to get through that a bit better. But yeah, some really solid performances. Grace did the marathon a couple of weeks ago as well, so that's really impressive finish there. Emma did well to kind of get up there, just hang out with Cheryl and Indy. Kirsty Kennedy's also had some changes of her roles recently at work and stuff, so that was nice to see her kind of delivering there as a top 10 position, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think Julie was really happy with how she performed. I think she had some kind of learnings about fueling. People don't really talk about fueling so much in OCR, but people are doing it and other people aren't realizing that other people are doing it. So I don't know whether that's something that we've all got to collectively work on and share advice a bit more. Happy to help out with that for Euros and stuff. But yes, it was for a 12K plus advertised race, this top 10 women are running it in 2 hours. So it is quite a long race. Yeah. And when you're doing this whole body exercise, I felt quite exhausted afterwards, being out in the sun as well. I felt like I used all of my body. Everyone talked about the rope traverse as well. Yes, it was long, we're used to it, we know how to do it, but it was quite painful. The ropes were quite thin. Everyone in the change room were like, oh my god, I've got such big bruises behind my knees. And we're like, yeah, we are putting our ankles on, we've got our long socks on, that's why. But we're also trying to do it fast and have long strides along the rope and stuff, and you end up, I think I might still have, I've definitely got bruises still. I feel like there's still mud sort of encrusted into my knees. But yeah, some good bruises, no injuries. I think a lot of success. That high rig, I don't know if you want to talk about it, Finn, but I thought that was really interesting. Definitely people got stuck with their hooks in Captain Hook on the back arm, just like Dave had predicted. And what else was going on? That wobbly one, the new wobbly one, that was really wobbly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, I think people kind of underestimate when you start on it. You're like, oh wow, this is a lot, like a slack line, but circular. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I've been banging on, but it was definitely a new, the course felt very different, even though it was the same venue as last year.
And Finn, I that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because of course Dave was back as race director back there for a second year. We asked him about how he would change up the course, and he talks about a few things in the preview, how he wanted to evolve. So how did you find that evolvement of nuclear races? Because we know, I think it's very safe to say that the nuclear races is now the home of UK OCRs, kind of the proper cross-country OCRs, as we'd say. And so as Becky mentioned, you have an idea of where you're going, and once you get kind of to the ridge, you're going to go to the finish. Oh, by the way, actually, no, you're going onto the rookies course for a little bit more and keep going. So talk to me a little bit about that evolvement of the race and also Dave's touch on it, because I also asked you, knowing that you've trained with Dave, what's his mindset like? Did his kind of race personality come out in the race?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say so, definitely. I think talking about that rig in Wild Forest with the bell at the top of the rope, that kind of different style thing, that's just Dave 101, trying something different, something new. Firefighters on the low rig was a real nice twist. That's that Dave-esque style thing. In terms of the evolution of nuclear, I think, like Becky said, that last bit was unexpected. I'm glad I'm not the only person who thought I was because same here, I thought I was going the wrong way at one point, but no, that's just a little changes and shape ups. But I think also what you said as well, Becky, about the switchbacks, I really like them personally, those extra run bits and being able to see the competition.
I don't think everyone liked them.
I know it's going to be a controversial thing I'm saying now.
Yes,
but
said the runner.
Yeah, personally, I quite like the more open field bits in terms of I'm a cross country runner. It's kind of my style. It might have helped me in terms of how I got my position at the weekend. But I think a lot of the time in OCR, it's sometimes hard to see where people are ahead of you. And when we've got those switchbacks, massive fields, you get more of a judgment as a racer. I like now, okay, Gavin's that far, Mo and Dan are that far. I really liked being able to have a feel of things. So that was quite a nice treat, in my opinion. But it was still nuclear, just a little bit a different feel. Like I say, once again with Dave splitting up Wild Forest to different sections, that water bit slightly split as well. Different routes at points, different directions, haven't done in the past. It felt fresh, it felt different. It still had that nuclear vibe to it, and definitely lived up to what a British champs should be.
And talk to me a bit about the atmosphere, especially at the start, because as Becky said, there was males and females together, where normally, isn't it like 10 or 15 minutes between the two starts?
Yeah, so, a chunk of time.
I guess there's a bit less elbow room, so you get your elbows out anyway. But actually, to be on the start line with all of the elites was something special, Finn.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, the atmosphere was great as you expect, especially at the start line, having everyone there, everyone ready. I think I said this in the start as well, not just at the start line, but overall nuclear, when you finish, having those crowds there is really nice. I felt a bit bad for James Burton doing the awards at the end. I think he was slightly he didn't have the power on his microphone or the noise when he tried to do the awards compared to everyone around the whole atmosphere at nuclear. He kind of got drowned out a bit with his microphone when he tried to shout. That was the only thing about the atmosphere. We didn't get the full medal ceremony too loud because of the atmosphere being so massive at nuclear. But no, it is really nice. I think, especially like I say, that start line as well. Everyone's there, having both men's and women's elite is exciting, and everyone there ready to go on the start line. So as always, Nuclear's got a great atmosphere, and also the start as well. The big archway, the big start. It's an actual proper starting area. Don't see it too much so many races because they haven't got the size that Nuclear does. It's what you need for a British champs. So really, really nice.
Yes, and in previous years we've talked about that narrow gate out the start, and James Parrish has talked about how that's intentional and part of it. So what Dave did as race director at the start is he called up the sort of top 10 men and women to stand at the front, because we had almost 100 people in that start pen.
Wow.
Which is really exciting for the championships. Obviously people going for different kind of overall and age group positions, and with Parawave was in there as well. So we did have a call up at the start, which I was grateful for, because the men's race does affect the women's podium spots. So we do need to be running in the, we don't want to spend the race overtaking the kind of second half of the men. So that definitely affected the speed and a little bit of the positions at the start. But it was good that, we got called up, because quite often people probably wouldn't put themselves on the front line in that situation from the women. So that was good. Definitely made it feel more exciting, more hectic and more stressful, which is probably good practice. I don't think it kind of impacted anything too negatively, but probably did take a little bit of time to get over the start line for some people, but that's all right. Got chip times for these other roles. Yes. So I think they said they had about 7,000 people over the weekend.
Wow.
At Nuclear, which is pretty huge. I know Tough Mudder had like 17,000, but we're talking like people who are competing, rookies. We've got obviously different lengths of events and everything, and Nuclear Fit as well. So it's pretty big weekend for OCR, to be honest. That's quite impressive for the sport.
Absolutely, and I know we always talk about people should be talking to each other, but Nuclear and Tough Mudder are always on the same bloody weekend. So, I can't get across. And then, there are a few people, and of course that Venn diagram is relatively small, but there are people that have to choose one to the other. But as you say, two events with over 20,000 people running OCR, from young kids right up to slightly mature people like ourselves. That's great for the sport. And, of course, we've had Tartan Warrior, but I think that down here and Winter Nuts down here, I think this has been kind of the start of the season for many people. And we're now kicking off into somewhere into the Europeans and everything else that's going on. But 21,000 is a really good number.
And I think we were certainly visible as well, as a sport and as a competition. Like with the podiums, it was actually like an improvement. Some of the feedback last year was about the podium ceremony, so we sort of did it just about on time, which was scheduled for, and also made sure that we did have the microphone this time. Last year there was no microphone at all, so managed to just about coordinate it with the people doing the warm up, who also were on the the system, the PA system, at the same time. But yeah, that wasn't possible for it throughout the whole awards ceremony, and there was still a few people out on course, so yeah, it wasn't perfect, but we did manage to kind of try and get all the awards presented with a good crowd. And I was still on the side and I was telling people what we were doing, so other people who were just there for fun were asking what's going on, and so we were able to explain to them, this is the thing, you can train for it and do it and take part and progress. So yeah, I think that made a difference actually.
It was the same at Tough Mudder, that because I was running Infinity on Saturday, and there were obviously several people going, oh, you guys are crazy, I can't believe you're doing that. But there were several going, I want to do that next year. I'm coming back. And it is just about that visibility of that. It's more than, just a bit of fun in the mud. It can be a little bit more serious. It can be for fitness or for sport or for competitiveness. But there were several people going, oh yeah, I really want to do that. I did say to them, there's some easier courses if they don't want to hit the hills. But no, it's fantastic. And it's such a great start for UK OCR. Of the season, and hopefully it's just a sign of things finally coming out of those COVID doldrums, and we can move forward.
And it all went really smoothly. Like everybody was happy. There was no kind of queries. I think Sarah did a fantastic job coordinating the technical officials. All the kind of meetings that were had in the run up between the organising committee and the different people from Nuclear, like Sam as kind of race director as well, and talking to James and Dave and Dawn and Emma helping out with that as well. So there was a lot of people behind the scenes that actually pulled this off, and that's what adds that kind of value and that credibility to the sport, as well as the results that people kind of work hard for. So I'm just really pleased that it all came together so well, and it was a sunny day. And yeah, people the next day were asking about it and stuff as well. So yeah, we'd love to hear some ins and outs of people's races in more detail if they want to share. Sorry. I meant the listeners. If the listeners want to talk about it, I know it's hard when you go back to work and no one really cares sometimes. So if you want to talk to me about how your race went, I'd love to hear. Managed to try and convince one of the ex-Mudstacle athletes who rocked up to try and come back to Spartan as well. You will remember Aaron Charity.
No,
so
you're absolutely right, Becky. And we put a shout out all the time on Facebook groups, although not at this moment in time, and other WhatsApp groups of anyone that wants to talk about their race, whether they want to leave us a voicemail, whether they want to leave us a DM, or actually even come onto the show for very quickly just to talk about their race. We want to hear about everybody's story, whether you're someone like me that's just a bit of a fun runner, whether you're an age grouper or one of the elites. We would love to hear everybody's stories throughout the season. Finn, you said
we had a lovely debrief actually at Ethos afterwards with a lot of the Rumble team as well, and caught up with some people who haven't been in OCR in a while. Yeah, carry on.
I think it's awesome. Like, it sounds like Rumble and Nuclear are kind of not having a Rumble anymore, and they're kind of getting closer and closer. I mean, I think teammates are crossing the divide, as it were. Finn, you said you had a couple of things to say.
Yes, yeah. Only thing I would say is obviously things can't always be perfect. We have room for improvement. And the only thing I would say, if I'm being honest, I think a lot of this as well from the men's, I was chatting afterwards, is a couple of the nuclear obstacles felt slightly out of place out there. So I think just before the slide, we had like the old metal hexagon and then in the air, and then it comes down to these chains with little mini hoops on them. There's no marshal, there's no like sign say where it starts, where it stops, and you don't want to just go past it because it's an obstacle. At the same time, I went start to end like I reckon you probably should, but they're the little things that aren't massively clear, not like fully known about. I think I chatted to a couple of people who weren't even sure what to do there. So there's little many things like that. Nuclear obstacles, I think at times that probably could have been left out. I think the same goes, there's a couple more on course that people would agree with. Coming down after the Weaver, we had a weird little, like, I don't know what it was, the slightly wobbly, tiny tire. Is that what it's called? Like the little tire things.
Yeah, that one was in the rule book with how to start and finish it and what you're not allowed to touch those.
Yeah.
That one was clearly
that one was in the rule book. The little things like that, they're all right, but they're iffy for me. I know it's pretty controversial as well, but the little.
Are you ready for anything, Finn?
Yeah, I know I'm ready for anything. I know what I'm saying is probably a little bit controversial. There's little tiny bits like that. I was like, yeah, it's all right, but broke a little bit of flow at times. But a lot of the Duke stuff worked well. But there's little tiny things in there. I'm just like, let's just get a little more technical, in my opinion. But yeah, that's a slightly controversial thing that I think it's a bit Marmite, that opinion. Some will like it, some will hate it. But there you go.
I don't think it's controversial at all. But one thing that Becky always says, almost every season, every time we talk about this, it's about the overall and the complete obstacle racer, and that could be any bloody obstacle, whether it's like a Zebedee or any sort of balance beam or anything like this. And those obstacles there, as Dave will then tell you, they're there to break up your flow. That's the whole point, is to disrupt you rather than just running, because people like you, Finn, are far too fast to just run. So we've got to slow you down somehow.
Yeah.
Going to end up back in the conversation of a standardized course if you're not careful. But yeah, the flow thing, I was like, ask your coach about that. He will disagree. But yeah, I like obstacles that do flow, like hanging and swinging obstacles. I thought the change that we haven't talked about yet to the Wonka bars, that definitely disrupted the flow during the obstacle. I saw some people doing burpees as a penalty there. It had so you go kind of down and up the monkey bars, and then without touching the pole that connects the next set of monkey bars, you have to traverse from rope to rope. But one of them was like a strap, like ratchet kind of strap, looped around, so that surface was different. The like foot lock is slightly varied, and then you have to transition back into going uphill on the monkey bars. I started that with side by side with Jamie. There were 3 lanes. He chose the middle lane. I was like, Jamie, why would you choose the middle lane? Now we're gonna have to touch each other probably and knock each other off. Choose one end, and I will choose the one furthest away. But it was fine. But we were literally knocking feet throughout the whole obstacle, and I was like, don't let go. I don't want you to blame me, and I don't want to blame you for like I'm off. Obviously, I was like, just hold on, just keep going. Don't worry if you hit me. So yeah, that was quite varied. But yeah, that definitely changed the flow. I think the high rig with the rope climb in the middle. We were talking in detail afterwards in our debriefs at the cafe about how we did it, what we skipped. Did we go forwards or backwards to get the momentum going again? The rope was quite fat and quite heavy. Not the rope kind of towards the end, but the one you had to climb in the middle. So I found like the foot lock was harder because you basically have to lift up more of the rope. And it was more slippy than I expected and close to the kind of bars holding it up. So yeah, that was harder than I thought. I think it took me longer than I anticipated. The load rig took me longer than anticipated, but managed to do the figure of 4 to kind of transition. Yes. What have we missed? I love the spinning monkeys. I love them so much. Some good water bits. Swinging is so fun. That felt closer than normal. Maybe I've grown.
Yeah, I've wondered the same thing too. When I was smaller, I can imagine myself being quite far away. Now I felt quite nice actually.
They need to bring that. That is a great option.
Yeah, because they had it the level up lane. Do you remember, Will, when you had to do 2 in a row? I feel like I did that and it was super fun, but it was quite a challenge.
Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Well, we're doing the points very quickly. We've got some new people kind of putting that together. So the points will be updated ASAP, including the teams. And I think that's going to be really interesting to see because let's see, we've got me and Tamar from Nuclear Essex, so that's a 1 and a 3, and then a 2 for Rumble on the podium. Then we've also got, conversely, we've got Nuclear again in first, but 2 but 2 for Rumble. And yeah, 3. So
well, because of course listeners won't know, but we're recording earlier than usual because someone's getting married, unfortunately. Therefore, we've got to get this edit out as soon as we can.
Surprise!
but of course, we will talk about the points in the bonus episode, which will be the Euro previews, which we'll talk about very soon. But yes, we will talk more about the points, but unfortunately, because we've only just recorded so soon after the British Champs, we don't quite have the points yet.
Yeah. Can I just say as well, we talk about Nuclear versus Rumble. I think so far, though, this season, we've seen Gavin as a one-man army so far.
Yes.
He has been plowing through, getting some great points for his team right now, being the only one ready for Fit Body Farm. But he's been superb this season. I think that's worth a shout out because
Absolutely.
I think Spartan Warrior, whatever people were saying, whatever is his course, he's organised the course, it's his land, etc., etc. He kind of proved those people slightly wrong. I was more than just slightly wrong. In fact, at Nuclear, he showed, including myself, I wasn't expecting him to be that quick at all. He showed he was really, really strong still. He's come back from injury superbly. The old man's still got it. It seems because he was great. Honestly, it was really good to see as well. And I think him almost back to his best, maybe even better than his best previously. Having another person up there now who is fighting for those podiums, fighting for those wins is good to see. And yeah, Gavin stepping up this season, being so strong, it's really nice. So yeah, big shout out to him as well.
I think interestingly, in hindsight, when he was on the preview show for Tartamore, was asking him about his training and everything else. I don't think any of us picked up how hard he had been working, and as you say, it's now showing that he is that one-man army that's going to come and take over England. But he did talk about how that he wanted to race at Tartamore. He was very upfront, but none of us really picked up on it.
No.
Yeah, awesome. It's good to see people like really backing themselves and then going for it. I think there'll be some good points. Well, depending on how things all stack up over the rest of the races, because you've got your strong points in number 2 and number 4 there, but you've also got Russell Darren. Kenny Sams had a really fantastic race. He came 8th, just ahead of James Burton. That was quite close. So, and Andy Bright we talked about in the preview show as well. He rounded out the top 10. So that definitely we've got like more names being kind of in the mix as well. And knocking out some people out the top 10 as well that we talked about. It was really nice to see Chris Shipley there. Zach and Ryan were like coming through as well during the race. So those guys sort of, I managed to sneak ahead of them at the start, but they came through and put down some good times. We haven't seen Constantine in a while. It's always nice to see him there. And yeah, Johnny was in the mix there as well. But James Marigold placed pretty highly as well in 12. So people are working hard and the positions are actually, they're up for grabs.
Yeah.
If you're not putting the work in or you're making a mistake, like you can be knocked down to like 15th or something. And same, we've talked about Karen doing her GP exams and stuff and having to focus on that. And she admitted beforehand that she hasn't had a chance, but she's managed to kind of finish that bit off now, and hopefully we'll see that her come back to full strength. But yeah, there's certainly an opportunity at the moment.
Yeah, and we've got Para here, Jamie Gain. I think it looks like he won that, which I just saw.
Yeah, so Jamie competed under the age group rules, so he didn't use the adjusted power rules. So Jamie was actually aiming for age group overall kind of podium against the other men in the age group category without adjusting the rules for his lower limb. So that was really impressive, and I think on that course, especially when it was a couple of K like extra maybe, there's a lot going on. I saw a picture of him like carrying his blade on one of the maybe on the donuts or something. After I don't know how that must be quite hard to do that long road traverse and that kind of setup. So yeah, it would be good to see how he felt it went. But yeah, he did still win overall in the lower in his category. Despite doing not having any adjustments. So yeah, respect to Jamie. We had Hans, who travelled internationally to take part in the visually impaired category. I think he was with his brother-in-law, but not a different brother who I think lives in the UK. And his feedback was that he loved it. It was fantastic. He really enjoyed the water obstacles. Hasn't done so many of those in races before. And I think he had overall really great time. So really, really great feedback there. Yeah. And Harrison came second.
Yes. Dawn Jolly's also took part, of course. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dawn and Shelley. I think they had a strong performance. I think she was happy.
Sure, we can ask her. Perfect. So thank you both for the British Champs review. We'll be back again, as I've already mentioned, for the Euros preview. That is a bonus episode that we'll be putting out the following week with your captain and vice captain, Tamar Barkley, and we'll ask her about her 5-page plan. Becky, that's probably more than a strategy that you put together, because I know you're very...
She was more prepared than me. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like Finn was saying, it's really hard to kind of juggle all the things, but Tamar chose to prioritize this, and it really paid off. So yeah. Good job.
Amazing. So we have Tamar Barkley and Andy Durant's captain and vice captain to come and join us to preview the Euro show, which will be next week. My thanks to race winner Becky Neal and British champion once again. You can follow her on Instagram at the Runner Being UK, and also to Finley Greenleaf, a fantastic performance to get the second place. You can follow him at fin.greenleaf on Instagram. Thanks, as always, to British Obstacle Sports for their support of the UK OCR series. You can follow them at British Obstacle Sports. And of course, hosted by Nuclear Races, you can follow them at Nuclear Races. If you haven't already, you should be following at UK OCR across all the channels, whether that's Facebook, YouTube. Actually, there's loads more on YouTube. This won't be on YouTube this time, but I think once Mr. Muddy Duck, or Mr. Bourne, shall we say, has finally got married, we might be able to get some of our shows on YouTube as well. But you should be following at UK OCR across all the social channels. If you like what you hear, you can say thank you by buying us a coffee or joining us on Patreon from as little as £2 per month. As mentioned, you will be able to hear from us again to preview the European Championships, which will be going to be at Irun in Spain, 28th to the 31st of May. And that will be with your captain and vice captain, Tamar Barkley and Andy Durant. But that's all from us for now. That's all from Becky, Finn, and myself. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Hey.
Bye.
Ain't no glory for the faint of heart. We all stars, win or lose, we don't play the part. And when the going getting tough, I get to going hard. You bring your best and you know I'ma tear them apart. We ready survival, rival. I ain't got no time for anyone who ain't put in the work that I do. You ain't heard about it, think I'm gonna remind you. I've been out here doing what I say is what defines you. This is our time, hands to the sky. You already know, I ain't gotta tell them why. Hands to the sky, this is our time. You already know, I ain't gotta tell them why. This is our house. Yeah, and we can't put it down. This is our house. We go around, come around. This is our house. Hands to the sky. You already know, I ain't gotta tell them why. This is our house. Yeah, and we can't put it down. This is our house. You can doubt us, that's fine.
When I found out I was going to be a parent, I immediately felt a lot of anxiety and worry. So I went on to BetterHelp to try to look for a therapist to help me with that.
My relationship with my family and with my boyfriend and with myself were suffering. I really needed help.
I was ruminating a lot. Really getting those thoughts out to a therapist and getting feedback was just life-changing.
Discover what BetterHelp Online Therapy can do for you. Visit BetterHelp.com today.